What's up, Internet? What's going on? Oh, Punky Pam, first one to the chat. Winner. Game of Thrones dinner. It is the 16th of July, and it is hot outside. So it's time to come inside and do some live streaming. What's up, Interneters? People showing up, so I'm turning off the intro. I think people know what's going on. What's going on, everybody? It's Sunday. And Game of Thrones is going to be coming on here in a couple hours or whenever. I guess it depends on what time it is, where you're at, what do you call that? Time zone you're in. Depends on which time zone you're in, and yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm gonna order me some HBO here after the live stream and make sure that I can watch it because it's good. It's a good show. But this live stream isn't about Game of Thrones. That just happens to be the day that today is. Punky Pam first to the chat. Jennifer J. Sir Asino. I don't know if she's relocated to Nevada yet, but it's happening. It's coming. And Big Pedro here up on the internet. What's up, guys? Good to see y'all coming out tonight. We got some interesting video, I think, tonight to run over. I got some time-lapse stuff from the freshwater madness, and I've also got some slightly edited video from working in the reef today. We have the new scape going on in the reef, which is, admittedly, I'll admit here at the beginning of the live stream, that seems to only be the beginning of messing around with that reef. I got a salty armpit from salt water leaching up into my shirt, which is quite comfortable. I will admit, it is quite comfortable to have a salty armpit. Jennifer's going to be going down there Thursday in the hot heat, in the hot Nevada heat, to check out some apartments, which I think will be fun for everybody. Eddie West is here. What's up, Eddie? How you doing? We're getting the live stream warmed up here. We're getting things warmed up, getting things rolling and going. I think we'll probably do a 14-hour live stream tonight. That sounds probably about right. No, we'll probably do a 1-hour show. Then I'm going to get my ice cream and go watch Game of Thrones because I'm kind of excited for it. I was not excited for it, but now I am. Somehow I was not excited for it. I managed to stay not excited for it, and but now I'm excited to watch it. I want to watch it tonight. I was going to wait patiently until the season came out, but I can't trust any of my friends to not spoil it for me realistically, so I think it's the best bet to just go ahead and watch it on the correct day. Hold on, what is this? This thing's telling me a thing. Okay, there we go. Sometimes you got to click the buttons, you know. And I got to click the buttons over here. So we have the community stuff up. And the thingy-majigger over here. On that. There we go. Well, happy Sunday to everybody out there. I got a lot of stuff done. I wanted to do a really early live stream today, but that didn't work out. So we're doing one a little earlier than our normally scheduled 8 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock my time here in the specific standard time where I am at. Is it National Ice Cream Day? Is that today? Today's National Ice Cream Day? If it's National Ice Cream Day, I should have been on that. I don't know how that would have escaped my my peripherals. My peripherus, or whatever you want to call it. Hold on, this thing's leaned over all weird.
Hold on a second. There. Stop leaning over all weird.
Sorry, one of my monitors was leaning over all weird for some reason. And it's going right back to where it was before. Cool. How cool is that? It's got a mind of its own. So I guess I'll just sit real funky here. Hoot. Oh, I'll go over here. I'm supposed to be over this way. Okay, there we go. But I got a bunch of work done on the reef. Like I said, I wanted to do an early live stream, but we were unable to make that accommodation happen. So we ended up, we're doing it a little earlier than normal, but not early in the morning like we want to. Badoosh. Hit clicking buttons over here, guys. Let's see. Although I do have to say, I'm pretty excited about getting a school of fish put into the 240 than just the killies that are in there right now. I'm pretty excited for that. Although I'm gonna have to get a couple of quarantine tanks here set up in the meantime while that stuff goes on. Although I have left spaces in front of where the 240 is that 20 long could fit right in there, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to slap 220 longs right off to the sides, and those would be the quarantine tanks for the 240. And then obviously the other tanks too will need a quarantine tank, but that's where I'm going to plop those in the meantime. I'm going to make a couple little tables there that those will sit on, and then when they're not in use, I'm going to take them out and put them back up into the attic where the old tanks go. Although I was looking at the fish room today a little bit, and I kind of started to think about the other 180. And the other 180 is taking up a lot of space. It's taking up a significant amount of space, and I started thinking about possibly doing a tank rack instead of the 180. It's in my head. That thought process is going on in my head right now. To maybe do a tank rack instead of the 180, but I'll probably end up slapping myself to get rid of that idea, because that idea doesn't seem like a great idea at this point. I'm not sure. And it's also a pretty nice tank. It's a pretty nice tank, so I think I might end up keeping it where it's at. I'm sort of 50-50 right now. Maybe 60-40, 70-30, 80-20. I don't know. Maybe I'm like 80-20. Maybe I've got an idea, and it's a stupid idea, though I'm not sure. But the idea is fluttering around in my head that I maybe should be doing just a big tank rack along that wall with a bunch of like 20s in it or something like that. But it is bouncing around in my head that maybe that's something I should be doing. And it's kind of stressing me out because I'm kind of thinking about that a little bit, and it might be useful. It might not. I don't know. I got something stuck in my tooth. Sorry, guys. I'm poking around with this toothpick here. But hopefully everybody else had a nice Sunday. Honestly, today has been a little bit of a stressful day for personal reasons that we won't get into, but I'm feeling stressed out. And a little sandpapery, if you know what I mean. A little cranky pants. I'm a little cranky pants tonight, but we'll do what we can to get off of that. Why is this thing disconnecting now? Now this is disconnecting. Well, now this is disconnecting, and this over here is spazzing out also. Well, I guess we're not going to have any chat portion tonight, maybe. I don't know. Why is this not working right? This is a pretty good live stream that when things don't work right, it generally makes things work out pretty good. There we go. Now it seems to be working. I don't know. All right. Well, either way, everybody seems really talkative tonight, so I think we'll just plow forward with whatever this stupid thing over here is doing. Who knows? But if so, let's just do the advertising portion. Either way, we'll run through it. There's a lot of ways to support the channel. If you want to support the channel, you can go to the Patreon right there. Hold on, I have to do it with the other hand. Right there in the chat. and posted below this video. You could go to darkstararts.com. That's my website with stuff on it. Click through the Amazon banner and buy whatever you like. You can go to the super chat feature and super chat if you like, and you can also just watch and subscribe and like and hit the like button or whatever or any of that kind of crap. There you go. How's that? Is that the shortest advertising you ever heard? That's the shortest advertising I think I've ever done. So cool. You get it? Got it? Good. Right on. We're gonna move on to the video portion of the live stream. Hey, Joel Gillett's here. Hey man, what's up? Good to see you. Thanks for coming out. We got a new bucket here, thanks to Carson Anderson, and I'm mixing up some reef water. I need to get some reef water going to start doing a water change on that reef there. Otherwise, the reef's going to get real mad at me for not changing its water. How do I measure my salt? I eyeball it like a maniac. It's 20 cups is what I need for this container right here. That is a 32-gallon trash can, which you cannot fill up to the brim, so you get about 30 gallons. And I'm just kind of used to measuring out how much of that bag needs to go in there. And then I'll test the salinity once it's mixed. Y'all see what's going on here. And I'm hooking up the water filter, which I wanted to give you guys a good idea how well this this style of water filter, how much water it moves versus a straight up roadie with the RO in it. I don't need the RO unit in my filter, so what I'm doing here is basically a push filter that's running through multiple DI chambers, and it gets my TDS down to 0. And there isn't really anything in the water that's going to be, what's the word, transmuted, passed on to the reef or anything like that. And everything is testing out legit. I had to run a little bit, had to run it for a little bit to kind of break it in. But I just ran that right into my freshwater tank so as to not waste the water. But I needed to run it a little bit in order to get it to sort of break in and kind of, you know, if you want to call it cycle or anything like that. I just had to break in that filter. So we got it broke in, and it worked out fine. And overall, I'm pretty happy with the results of how well it works. I should be able to do between 700 and 800 gallons on this DI, on these DI inserts, and then be able to replace the, what's the name of it? The resin. Be able to replace the resin on my own, because the inserts that I got are the type that have a screw bottom on them, so you can unscrew the bottom and rinse out the old resin, and then put in your own, repack your own new resin if you like. That is a little bit of a savings to do it that way. So I like to do it that way because you save a couple bucks on replacing your filtration. But, yeah, you can see, even though this is a time-lapse, you can see how quickly this bucket is filling up. That first power head that I have there to move water around was insufficient, so I had to get out my Jabao one, and you can see how much more effective it is at moving and mixing the water around. It is significantly better than that little Coralia. The Jabao works pretty good. The controller on it leaves something to be desired, though. The settings on it are just weird and kind of difficult to understand. It's like S1, S2, S1, S2, S3, whatever mode, and then there's a dial on it to speed it up and slow it down, but it pulses depending on which S it's on. It's just a little bit confusing, so I highly recommend, if you do get that Jabao wave maker, to go ahead and print out the little what these numbers and stuff on here mean thing off of the internet. It would be very helpful. How many water changes do I estimate? Like how many gallons or how many water changes? Okay, I get it. So with 700 or 800 gallons on that, how many water changes is that? That will be, let's see. So I do about 30 gallons at a time. 25-ish water changes once a week, so about 5 months, let's call it. Let's go on the low side and say 4 months. So it's good for 4 months, doing about 30 gallons at a time, water change wise. Oh, and that video ends right there. Huh, that's a weird spot to end that video. Let's move on to this one, though. Yeah, I didn't want to make you guys get all super bored with just reef stuff, so we're throwing in the freshwater in the middle. I took Potato's advice and went ahead and shot some time lapse of the 240 to give you guys an idea that because it doesn't look like a whole lot is moving around when I just shoot standard video of the 240, because the flow isn't extraordinarily crazy in there. But on the time lapse, it seems like everything's going completely buck wild in this tank. But the killies move around a lot. I got a lot of snails and things moving around. The apistos pop in every once in a while, but they're still real small, so I haven't been able to get any really good shots of them. Those of you with the super keen eye here can pick out that the crypts are sending out quite a few little plants now, and mothering some new babies plants being sent out amongst the rest, or being sent out, spreading out in this tank. There we go. Haha. You can get the whole sentence out. Maybe not. Who knows? But they're sending off quite a few little baby plants and doing pretty well acclimated at this point. The bronze ones are... It's pretty impossible to pick up the bronze until they get really big. You can't really tell exactly what's going on until they get really big. So that's kind of an issue to try and figure out exactly what's going on with the bronze ones. The Anubias in there is doing really well, I would like to say. I'm pretty happy with how well it is picked up and taken off. There is... Oh, the micro chainsword on the other side, I didn't shoot a video of that. We'll be doing that coming up this week because I have to clean it. Actually, it's getting a little bit of algae on it, and I have to clean it, and I'll talk about how to do that, how to handle that, and whether or not that's a big deal or not. So, the chainsword has actually started taking off, which was taking its sweet time to get acclimated to my tank and start growing. But it actually has started taking off and is doing fairly well at this point. It's not really super fancy video time yet, but it's probably going to be about a week, other than the cleaning video I'm going to shoot on that. It's probably going to be a week, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks before it really gets to a point where it'll be a bit of a stunner. And the Monte Carlo in the middle of the tank is being a bit of a bear right now, probably because it got so acclimated to growing not underwater, but it actually has started out sending out some shoots also. So we'll get that. We'll get some video on that fairly soon. All right, back to the reef. As you guys can see, the video cut off in a weird point. For some reason, my camera stopped filming back there, and it looks like I'm violently throwing things around in this time lapse because it's sped up. It looks like I'm being quite violent in there, which is funny. That was not the intention to make it look that way, but it really does. When it's sped up, looks like I'm just throwing rocks at things. It's just kind of cool. It's good to know. I'll make a mental note that it looks throwy when I speed it up and make it go fast. So I'll try to keep that in my head. See if I can't remember that. Dwayne is asking, what is the planned plant scheme for the next freshwater tank? The next freshwater tank is going to be more intense plant-wise. And intense, by intense, I mean labor-intensive. So I'm going to do a lot of mosses. I'll probably do something like dwarf baby tears or maybe glosso carpet, that kind of stuff. And a ton of driftwood. I'm going to do a big back wallscape that's actually going to hold a lot of the chambers for shrimp breeding, because I'm going to want to have pretty prolific shrimp breeders in here in the next tank. That's going to be the whole reason for that tank. So I'm actually going to I'm gonna scape it as well as I can to have as much as possible biofilm for feeding and breeding of the shrimp. And I'm also, like I said, I'm gonna isolate a lot of area in the back of the tank underneath a lot of the of what I'm going to consider to be pretty intense driftwood work is going to be my plan back there. And I'm going to go ahead and just click over here and close this stupid thing because it continually keeps crashing for some reason. So go ahead and turn that off. Oh, here we go. Somebody just tagged me in a post. And we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of phoenix moss, really small kind of delicate plants. What I'm going to focus on in the 180 once I get that up and running, and try and get more aggressive with the plants that are going to be in that tank, and also in the 240. The 240 is going to probably get a little more intense with some more difficult plants and stuff as things go along here. The main reason for how I set it up initially was I just really wanted to get it up and running in an efficient way to get the ecology of the tank in a good situation, if that makes sense. And I have no idea what's going on with the chat here. It's doing weird stuff. Cool. I like that. That's fun. But the main reason I set it up the way that I did was to get the plants off the ground, get everything going in that tank, and get the ecology of that tank to be working at a really fast rate, and let it get grown in and let it get established. And so that's. And you guys know I have this this crazy love for crypts. Cryptocrine, cryptocorn, whatever you want to call them. I have a huge affinity for those. I love them to death. And so I'm definitely love putting those in a lot of my tanks. I'm going to be doing a lot of tall growing plants into the 240 at some point in time. And Dwayne is asking about subwasser tang. I probably will get some subwasser tang at some point in time and add it to the shrimp tank. The new 180 that's going to be going up is going to be the plan for that. So, yeah, subwasser tang will probably be in there, but like phoenix moss and all that kind of crazy kind of delicate mosses and stuff are definitely going to be going in there. And I'll probably end up moving some bucephalandras to the background in the 180 when it goes in, just because they're fun. They're just a fun, nice, similar to having some Anubias in the background and all that kind of stuff. Jennifer's asking. Oh. Sorry, Punky Pam was asking, when you do a saltwater change, where does that salt water go? You can't have any, you can't water any garden plants, can you? No, you cannot water your garden plants with reef tank water. That will be a definite bad time. And this stupid thing is freaking out and not staying on the chat for some reason. I don't know why. All right, everything is just going to be buggy as all get out tonight. I don't understand why. Hold on. I think I got an idea. Hold on. I'm just going to unplug that thing. But Punky Pam, I do use the salt water behind the garage to kill off the plants that are behind the garage. There's this road area back there. We are putting the salt water on that in order to get rid of all the weeds or plants or anything, because we don't want anything growing back there. So we are using that water a little bit for that, other than a use like that. There's two ways that you can do it. You can send it down the drain, and that won't be a huge ordeal. for the water plant guys and the sewage plant guys or anything like that. So you can send it down the drain. Or there's another really kind of weird, interesting way that you can handle it. Obviously, in the winter months, it doesn't work out that well, but you can actually put it out like on a flat area somewhere and let it dry and sweep up the salt and throw the salt away if that's what you want to do, or use the salt for something else, like salted puck. You know, there's a bunch of strange things you can do with salt water because you can actually heat it up and boil it, use it to brine something. You could brine. There's a whole bunch of weird stuff you can do with salt water once you got it. The easiest way to deal with it, though, is to send it down the drain. That is essentially the easiest way to cope with it. Jennifer Sarcino's asking, will all my crypts melt when I move to a higher pH water? Yes. 100%. Move crypts, they'll melt. I mean, it's a rare off chance that they won't melt. Every once in a while when you move them, especially if you move them to different water. Sometimes you move them in the same tank and they'll melt. They're just like that. So yeah, they will melt, but I would just stay consistent with what you're doing, and they'll come back. That's for sure. Oh, Dark Heart Animal made it to the internets, man. I do have a 22-ounce framing hammer, Dwayne. I've got one. Well, I've got 3 or 4 of them in the shop. And I'm almost considering doing that completely here at this point to all 3 of, well, everything in here and then myself. I'm not feeling very happy today. I'm kind of pissed off and kind of grouchy and shit. So sorry if I come off that way, because that's how I feel today. But Joel, you could condense it into a salt lick for your horse. That's true. Or catch an elk or a deer napping. You know what I'm saying? Elk or deer, you know, wander up and give it that little licking, and then just blast them through the lungs. I'm not saying you should kill animals unless you're gonna eat them. Hello.
Hello. I'm gonna go get dinner. See you later.
Okay. Well, all right. I guess Vicky's going to go get dinner. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much it for the live stream tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for tonight. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. I'm going to go elsewhere. Thanks for coming out. Have a great night. Later.